Charlie, look, I guess we shouldn't be amazed that politicians are hypocrites. But this is just unbelievable. He's saying something that's totally false.
I could just see how this happened. I think an intern of his probably read it on Twitter or something. Oh, it must be true, Senator. You got to say this. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, a simple reading of the Constitution could make you know that the Supreme Court does not actually oversee the impeachment proceedings. And look, this is what's really happening is they are freaking out because the left, they control education, they control the media. The only vertical that they thought they were going to solidify for the next 100 years if Hillary would have won is the courts. And this president has now installed 26, that's right, 26 circuit court judges, the most amount of appellate judges in a president's first 18 months, and now he's going to have 2 Supreme Court judges that are constitutionalists in nature. The left, this is not according to plan because the courts, they wanted to corrupt them with activist, revisionist judges that did not abide by the Constitution. Yes. Kavanaugh and Gorsuch are direct defiance to the left's agenda to redefine America.
And Lisa, I mean, those substantive points are so well made, but let's just for a second also just talk about this. He's on the Senate floor. He's saying something that is totally false in order to make a political point. And yet these are the people who go on and on about the lies and the assault on truth. I mean,
well, I think the American people aren't buying into, this. I mean, look, this wouldn't be the first time that Chuck Schumer lied. I'm surprised he wasn't crying on the Senate floor. Democrats have been petulant children with Kavanaugh, and the reason being is they can't do anything to stop this from happening. So what they're doing is kicking and screaming, being as loud as possible, because they can't, unless Kavanaugh somehow implodes during the confirmation hearing, this is happening. And I think you're also going to see Democrats like Joe Manchin, Donnelly, Heitkamp, that all voted for Gorsuch, who are also going to get on board on this. You look at polling in their states, majorities of voters in those states, they want Kavanaugh confirmed. And you know what is really disappointing, too? Chuck Schumer won't even sit down with him. And Mitch McConnell met with Elena Kagan the first day she was on Capitol Hill. So we've seen obstruction, crying, and just basically Democrats acting like children.
I can't wait for the hearings where they're going to say, well, Judge Kavanaugh, we have a lot of concerns about your daughter's basketball record when you were coach of her basketball team.
Or the national
No, seriously, you rung up a lot of credit card debt buying too many baseball tickets. I mean, this guy has probably lived the cleanest life of any person ever to try to be on the D.C. Circuit, let alone the Supreme Court. But again, the left has an agenda, and it involves corrupting the courts. And the fact that the president is going full steam ahead and appointing these constitutionalist judges, they are actually losing their mind. And look, it's going to be up to the Republican senators to fulfill their promise to confirm them. You think you'll see some Democrats come?
Yeah, I mean, it's true, isn't it? Because actually, if you look back, they've gotten used to the way in which they've been able to advance their policy agenda through the courts rather than through winning actual elections. And it looks like that's coming to an end.
Well, absolutely. And Charlie's absolutely right in the sense of this. The changes to the judiciary are going to be a lasting legacy of President Trump. So this is a big deal for Republicans. It's a big deal for President Trump as well. And again, look, the hearing's going to be on September 4th. This is happening. He's going to be confirmed again, unless he implodes, says something stupid. This is basically, it's going to happen.
Well, and you look at some of the big decisions. I mean, public sector unions are no longer going to be the same thanks to Neil Gorsuch. President Trump puts Neil Gorsuch, and you had the Janus decision this last June. People are no longer required to be part of public sector unions. That is a $50 million annual hit to the Democrat Party. You can see.
By the way, it's a lot. We did something. I think it's more. It's that amount of money in some states.
That's correct. Yeah,
that's right. It's an incredible. You're quite right. That is probably one of the more lasting changes, but again, perfectly fair. I mean, this is something that the individual should be able to choose. I remember back in the UK, that was something that was a key part of the Thatcher back in the 80s, union reforms, is to give individual people the opportunity to decide whether they participate. But I think that what you'll see, you're quite right. When you're just looking at the reporting that's coming out, Susan Collins, who people said at the beginning, well, she may not go with this, being very positive in the sort of signals she's sending.
Well, absolutely. And she basically recently came out and said, she's going to support him. I mean, so basically, all President Trump, all they need to do is get Republicans solidly behind, which it looks like they are there now. And I think you're going to have Democrats come on board because you look at these red states. People like Joe Manchin is in a state that President Trump won by 42 points. So they're feeling the pressure from their electorate and trying to please them. So I think you're going to see, at least 3 Democrats come come that way.
And then one last question, Lisa. Is there any possibility that you can foresee that they use procedures to kind of delay it beyond the election? You know, I've read stuff about requesting all this paperwork, and are they able to do that, or do the Republicans control the process so they can basically get it done?
They've been trying with the paperwork, but they've also turned over more documents from his time with the executive branch than I think any other Supreme Court nominee has before. I mean, there's been a lot of transparency. Also, you look at over 300 opinions, right? A lot of this information is already public that they could be looking at. So again, the reason why we're seeing this obstruction, the reason why we're seeing the kicking and screaming, the reason why we're seeing so much noise from the Democrats is they know that there's nothing they can do to stop it. And as long as President Trump has Republicans behind him in the Supreme Court pick, then you're going to see these other Democrats facing tough re-elections also get on board.
And it's not going to be far away. Thank you both for that.